Who has the right to be called a girl? Abigail, welcome back to the Dennis Prager Show.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be here.
Thank you very much. I was thinking, reading your piece and reading about the judge in the Connecticut case, which we'll explain to our listeners, that even a pandemic and an unprecedented lockdown of society, the crushing of the world economy, does not stop the left from its missions. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
So tell us what's happening in Connecticut.
Sure. So there are 3 high school girls now suing their athletics association in Connecticut. And the reason they are is these young women are exceptional runners. They are the very best runners in the state of Connecticut, a state which has a proud history of really great track and field talent and competition. And these young women are suing because for the last few years, they have consistently lost to biological boys who identify as girls, they claim to be girls, and they are allowed to compete as girls. And what has happened is since 2017, 13 out of 14 state championship events have been won by boys, biological boys now. These are the girls' events have been won by boys. And the boys are now they're also setting records. So they're taking records from biological girls, they're setting them, and they're setting records that no girl can meet. So this is really devastating. It means that now every year in Connecticut there will be fewer biological girls moving on to regional championships because they are consistently getting knocked out of the top spots.
If this were visited by someone in the past, if what you just said were heard, but even 20 years ago, not 100, they would have said it was science fiction of the most absurd variety.
That's exactly right. It is unbelievable. It's one of those things you can't believe. You have to go into court and argue that this is not fair to girls when every woman knows that, biologically speaking, the advantages in sprinting and in heavy lifting are so vast that men have. That's why they have always separated them. Men have larger lungs on average. They have larger bones. They have more bone density. They have more fast-twitch muscle fiber. They have larger hearts. I mean, there's absolutely massive advantages, so massive, in fact, that the fastest sprinter in the world is this remarkable woman, Allison Felix, and literally almost 300 high school boys today can beat her in America. Just in America, 300 high school boys have beaten her record. That's how much faster men are on average.
One of the biggest questions I have about America is this infection of the conscience, as I would call it, and of the ability to reason. How deep is it? In other words, if we took a vote among Connecticut parents, how do you think the vote would go?
It's interesting. I don't know. I think that of all the transgender sort of issues that have been posed in the last, decade or so, this is the one that is most inherently upsetting to parents because they know. I mean, I get calls from fathers who say, this isn't right. My daughter trained so hard. She's up every morning. She's the best runner in the state, and they won't and she can't even get the chance to win. I think, in general, parents are very understanding and sympathetic. I think feminists have been terrible on this issue, by and large. But, they really prefer the new group that has a claim, and that new group is the transgender group, unfortunately, because it doesn't give girls a fair shot.
Are the parents, families, and the girls themselves in the lawsuit getting hate?
I think they are. I mean, I've talked to some of them, and they do get a fair amount of hate. What they also get is, quiet, people coming up to them just saying quietly, don't tell anyone, but I'm on your side. They get a lot of that.
All right, hold on with me. Abigail Shrier, you could pre-order her forthcoming book up at Amazon, The Transgender, Irreversible Damage, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters.